Stop what you're doing. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of the air right now. This is not a video you stumbled upon by chance. It's a celestial interruption that found you. While the world chases likes, notifications, and empty approval, heaven has opened a rift in your time to deliver you breaking news. What I'm about to say cannot be heard amid the noise. It needs silence. It needs you present. Right at this moment, the enemy is trying to distract you. A notification, an intrusive thought, a noise nearby. Ignore it all. Your old life is pulling you back like a desperate magnet. But your future demands your attention now. You feel it, don't you? That weight in your chest that won't go away with sleep. That sense that something greater is trying to be born inside you. But the whole world seems to conspire to keep you small. I understand. I recognize the signs. You're not here by algorithm. You're here by decree. A decree written before the sun existed, sealed with your name, scheduled for this exact moment of your life. Stay with me until the end, or you'll keep trying to decipher the code of your existence alone, stumbling over the same stones, carrying the same burdens that were never yours. We don't have much time. The door that's opening now has an expiration date. What you're about to hear in the next few minutes will separate who you were from who you're about to become. Chosen one, take a deep breath one more time. God is about to reveal your purpose, and you will never be the same again. You come home and silence greets you like a judge. It's not the peaceful silence of someone resting. It's the heavy silence of someone carrying questions without answers. You close the door, take off your shoes, and feel that emptiness in your stomach that has no name, that tightness in your chest that no doctor can diagnose. I know what you've been feeling. You walk into a room and conversations stop. You share a victory and others' enthusiasm seems forced, mechanical, obligatory. You notice that people only reach out when they need something, but disappear when you need someone. And the question that won't go away is this: what's wrong with me? Let me tell you something that will change everything right now. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something right happening in you. What you're experiencing is not rejection. It's strategic removal. God is executing a celestial protocol that few understand because few are called to carry what you're about to carry. That emptiness you feel when you come home, that silence that seems to suffocate you in your room, that sense of invisibility that haunts you even in the middle of a crowd. All of this was orchestrated. God sterilized your environment. He removed the noise that was sabotaging your spiritual hearing. He turned off the voices that kept you trapped in a small version of yourself. He emptied the stage so you could finally hear the voice that matters without interference. You think you were abandoned? You were isolated for protection. We live in a generation that confuses loneliness with failure. If you don't have a packed schedule, if you're not surrounded by people all the time, if you're not constantly being validated on social media, you feel inadequate. But let me show you the truth that heaven wants you to see right now. Isolation is the sanctuary of metanoia. Metanoia, the Greek word meaning change of mind. It's not just repentance, it's a complete reprogramming of how you see yourself, the world, and your role in it. And this reprogramming cannot happen in the middle of noise. Remember when Jesus withdrew from the crowd? When Moses spent 40 years in the desert before God appeared in the burning bush? When Paul was taken to Arabia for 3 years before starting his ministry? The pattern is clear. God isolates those he is about to use. Those who walked away from you didn't leave by their own will. They were removed by the Creator's hand, so you would stop seeking approval where there was only confusion. They were withdrawn, so you would stop wasting your emotional energy on shallow connections that drained your mental bandwidth. Mental bandwidth. The capacity you have to process information, make decisions, and maintain focus on what truly matters. And you were wasting that bandwidth trying to understand why so-and-so treated you badly, why this person ignored you, why that group excluded you. Enough, God said. Enough waste. Enough begging for space where you were never invited. Enough trying to prove your worth to those who don't have eyes to see what I placed inside you. The rejection you felt was a divine filter. It wasn't meant to hurt you. It was meant to awaken you, to show you that you were trying to plant seeds in infertile soil. You were trying to build bridges with people who only wanted to cross, never to stay. And God, as a loving Father, cut those connections before they dragged you away from your destiny. Now, pay attention to what I'm about to say. That silence you hate, that loneliness that terrifies you, it's not emptiness, it's preparation. It's the crucible where God is melting away the impurities of your false identity to reveal who you truly are. Crucible, the vessel used to melt metals at extreme temperatures, the place where gold is separated from dross, and you're in the crucible now. The heat you feel isn't meant to destroy you, it's meant to purify you. You're being refined. Superficial friendships were burned away, empty approvals were evaporated, distractions were consumed, and what's left? You, the real you, the you that God designed before the foundation of the world. But there's more. God didn't just remove the extras, He removed the false script you were following. You were living the life others expected of you. You were chasing dreams that were never yours. You were carrying responsibilities that were never assigned to your shoulders. And God said, enough. He withdrew the extras so the author could finally take command of the scene with you, in private. The author, the one who wrote your story before you were born, the one who knows every chapter, every twist, every victory and every defeat, the one who knows exactly where you need to be and when you need to be there. And now, in the silence, in the isolation, in the loneliness that frightens you so much, the author is finally able to speak without competition. Can you hear it? That gentle voice whispering truths you've always known, but never had the courage to admit. That inexplicable certainty that something greater is waiting for you. That internal impulse pushing you forward, even when everything around you seems to pull you back. This is not illusion, it's the frequency of alignment, the frequency where your purpose resonates with the divine plan. And you can only tune into that frequency when you remove the interference, and God removed the interference for you. So stop fighting the isolation, stop trying to escape the loneliness, stop begging back the people God strategically removed. This is your time of consecration, your time of revelation, your time of irreversible transformation. The silence is not your punishment, it's your sanctuary. Now let's touch the wound you avoid looking at. You've become addicted to carrying the world on your shoulders so you don't have to carry your own calling. Read that again. Slowly. You turned life into a permanent rescue service. You're everyone's emotional firefighter. You're the unpaid counselor. You're the shoulder to cry on, the spiritual crutch, the safe harbor for those who are shipwrecked. And while you save everyone, you drown. I understand. We understand. We know how exhausting it is to carry the weight of everyone around you. We know the tiredness that comes from always being available, always being strong, always having the right answer, even when you're crumbling inside. But I need to ask you a question that's going to hurt. Why do you do this? Don't tell me it's because you're kind. Don't tell me it's because you're a Christian. Don't tell me it's because God called you to serve. I'll tell you why. You're afraid to be alone and discover that you don't know who you are without being useful to someone. You built an identity on top of others' needs. You became dependent on others' dependence. And now, when people start pulling away, when requests for help decrease, when the phone stops ringing, you panic. Because if nobody needs you, who are you? That's the question that terrifies you. And it's exactly the question God is forcing you to answer now. He's dismantling your addiction to being needed. Addiction. Yes, this is an addiction, as destructive as any other. You're addicted to the validation that comes from being indispensable. You're addicted to the feeling of importance that comes when someone says, "I don't know what I'd do without you." And God is cutting off the supply. He's removing the people who used you as a crutch. He's drying up the constant distress calls. He's forcing you to sit in the silence and confront the brutal truth. Many people don't love you. They love your availability. The moment you started saying no, the moment you started establishing boundaries, the moment you started prioritizing your own mental and spiritual health, they revealed the truth. They were never by your side. They were beside what you offered. And this revelation hurts like betrayal. But it's not betrayal. It's liberation. God is showing you who was truly with you and who was just using you. He's exposing the transactional friendships. He's revealing the parasitic relationships. He's ripping off the emotional leeches that were sucking your life force. And you need to let it happen. You need to let go. You need to stop chasing after those who let you go. You need to stop apologizing for having boundaries. You need to stop feeling guilty for finally putting on your own oxygen mask first, because we know the truth. We know you couldn't breathe. We know you were suffocating in obligations that were never yours. We know you were carrying burdens that God never placed on your shoulders. And now, finally, God is emptying your hands. He's removing the weights that aren't yours. He's taking away the responsibilities you assumed out of fear, out of guilt, out of a need to be accepted. He's clearing your lap of all the burdens of others that you embraced as if they were your own. Why? So you'll have space to hold the authority he's about to pour out. Authority, not influence bought with sacrifices, not relevance earned through burnout. Genuine authority. The kind that comes from someone who knows their own identity. The kind that comes from someone who no longer needs anyone's approval because they already have the approval of the Most High. But you can't receive authority with hands full of burdens that aren't yours. God won't give you new responsibilities while you insist on carrying the old ones. He never gave you. He won't promote you while you refuse to resign from the savior role you appointed yourself to. So he's doing it for you. He's dismantling the false altar where you sacrificed your peace for others. Approval. He's destroying the cardboard throne where you reigned as everyone's indispensable hero except your own. And it hurts. I know it hurts, but it's surgical pain. Pain that heals. Pain that liberates. Because on the other side of this pain is the true version of you. The one who doesn't need to be useful to be loved. The one who doesn't need to carry everyone to have value. The one who finally understands that your purpose is not to be anyone's crutch, but to be a pillar in God's temple. And pillars don't move. Pillars don't bend. Pillars don't break trying to sustain structures that aren't theirs. Pillars remain firm, rooted, unshakable. And that's what God is doing with you right now. He's transforming the crutch into a pillar, and the empty vessel will soon be overflowing. And that soon will happen right in this video, before your very eyes. Moses was tending sheep. He wasn't in a temple. He wasn't at a prophetic conference. He wasn't on a spiritual retreat at the top of a sacred mountain. He was in the most common place in the desert, doing the most ordinary work of his routine, when the extraordinary happened. The bush caught fire. And here's what you need to understand. God doesn't call you on stage. He calls you in the middle of your work and your routine. You're waiting for a cinematic moment. You're waiting for lights, thunder, an undeniable mystical experience. You're waiting for God to show up when you're finally ready, when you're finally clean, when you're finally in the right place. But God shows up in the desert. He shows up in the monotony. He shows up in the place where you think you've been forgotten. Moses was 80 years old, 80. He had already given up on the palace, on relevance, on glory. He was a fugitive shepherding sheep that weren't even his, in a desert that wasn't his home. And it was there, right there, that God said, "Now you're ready," because God's purpose doesn't need a stage, it needs surrender. And the bush was burning, but it wasn't being consumed. Pay attention to this. The fire wasn't destroying the bush, it was illuminating it. God's purpose won't destroy you. It won't exhaust you like people exhausted you. It won't drain you like that job drained you. It won't break you like those toxic relationships broke you. The fire of divine purpose illuminates without consuming. It reveals who you are without annihilating you. It transforms you without deforming you. It uses you without discarding you. And when Moses approached, God said something that changes everything. Take off your sandals, because the place where you stand is holy ground. Do you understand what this means? The desert became sacred, not because it was special, but because God was present. Where you are right now, in this moment of invisibility, of isolation, of apparent abandonment, this place is holy ground. It's not punishment, it's consecration. God is saying, take off the sandals of your pride, take off the sandals of your anxiety, take off the sandals of your rush, because I am here, and where I am, everything becomes holy. You were waiting to be called when you arrived somewhere important, but God is calling you exactly where you are. In your silent room, in your exhausting job, in your routine that seems meaningless, in the desert you swore was the end, but that God decreed is the beginning. Your purpose doesn't begin when you leave the desert. It begins exactly where you thought you were forgotten. The bush is catching fire now. Can you see it? Can you feel the heat without the fear of destruction? God is not consuming you. He is illuminating you. Saul looked at David and saw a boy, a shepherd, inexperienced, too small, too weak, too young, and then, with the best intentions, he tried to help. He put his own armor on David, his bronze helmet, his breastplate, his sword, and David couldn't walk. The armor was too heavy. It wasn't made for him. It didn't fit his body. It didn't match his fighting style. And that's exactly what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you to try to imitate others. Purpose. Wants you to wear their armor, follow their method, replicate their success. Wants you to get stuck halfway trying to be who you were never called to be. How many times have you tried to copy someone else's anointing? How many times have you looked at a leader, an influencer, a pastor, an entrepreneur and thought, I need to do it like they do, and then you put on the armor. You tried to talk like they talk, pray like they pray, minister like they minister, work like they work, and you froze because that armor was never yours. David took it all off, rejected the protection that didn't fit, refused the false security of what wasn't his, and what did he take? 5 smooth stones and a sling, simple tools, tools he already knew how to use, tools that had been in his hands since he was a child, protecting sheep in the field. Stop asking for tools you don't know how to use. Stop begging for methods that worked for others but weren't made for you. Stop comparing yourself, diminishing yourself, thinking you need to be bigger, more eloquent, more strategic, more like those you admire. God will use exactly what you already possess to bring down the giants that are paralyzing you. Your simplicity is not weakness. Your authenticity is not amateurism. Your unique way of doing things is not a flaw that needs to be corrected. It's your signature of purpose. Heaven doesn't anoint imitations. God doesn't waste time with copies. He created you original, and it's your originality that will carry the anointing that brings down the impossible. God is removing the weight of others, expectations from you right now. Take off the armor that isn't yours and fight with your own voice. Now the moment has come. Chosen one, listen to me carefully now. It's all over. The season of invisibility expired this very second. The decree of deliverance has been signed. The seal of silence has been broken, and you were chosen before time existed, not by chance, not by luck, not because you were perfect, but because God saw something in you that no one else could see. He saw faithfulness where everyone saw weakness. He saw endurance where everyone saw defeat. He saw gold where everyone saw ashes. You think you were forgotten. You were being kept like a treasure in an armored vault, protected like a soldier in special training, hidden like a secret weapon that's only revealed at the exact moment of the decisive battle, and that moment has arrived. Take a deep breath now. Feel what's happening in your chest. That weight that suffocated you for months, for years, just fell away in this instant. Now, the burden of trying to please everyone has shattered. The chain of human approval has broken. The prison of others' opinions has disintegrated. You are free, completely free. And you know what that means. It means you no longer need anyone's validation. You no longer need to prove your worth. You no longer need to beg for space, for recognition, for a chance, because God has already given you much more than a chance. He gave you an irreplaceable mission. Listen carefully to what I'm about to say. No one can do what you were appointed to do. No one. Not the most famous pastor, not the most influential leader, not the most talented person you know, because what God placed inside you is exclusively yours. It's your spiritual fingerprint. It's your signature of purpose engraved in the DNA of eternity. It's the piece of the kingdom puzzle that only you can fit. And if you don't occupy your place, it will remain empty forever. That's why God isolated you. That's why He removed the people. That's why He closed doors. That's why He let you go through the desert, through the silence, through the loneliness that almost destroyed you. Because He was preparing you for something no one else could carry. And now, chosen one, the time for reward has come. Not the reward the world gives, not likes, not applause, not empty fame. The kingdom's reward, genuine authority. The right people are already being directed to you. Divine opportunities have already been released. The doors with your name on them are opening right now. The resources you need are already in motion, but you need to do one thing. You need to accept who you are, not who you were, not who you tried to be to please others, not the small version of you that fit into others' expectations. You need to accept that you are the chosen one, not a chosen one, the chosen one. For that family, for that territory, for that generation, for that specific purpose that God designed with His hands and stamped with your name. They were looking for credentials, but God was looking for a broken heart. They wanted experience, but God wanted obedience. They sought perfection, but God sought surrender. And you surrendered. In isolation, you surrendered. In silence, you surrendered. In pain, you surrendered. And now God is going to raise you up. Like David was raised from the sheep field to the throne. Like Moses was raised from the desert to liberate a nation. Like Joseph was raised from prison to govern an empire. Your preparation is over. Chosen one, the training has ended. The forge purified you. The desert taught you. The isolation revealed you. And now it's time for you to occupy what was always yours. The table is already set, but it will only be served when you sit in your place. When you stop looking at others waiting for permission. When you understand that God is not asking you to be humble to the point of rejecting the call. Humility is not making yourself small. Humility is recognizing who made you great, and God made you great. Not out of pride, but out of necessity. because the world needs what only you can deliver, because there are people waiting for your manifestation, because there are territories that will only be reached by your voice. So hear the final decree. You are no longer invisible. You are unmistakable. You are no longer disposable. You are irreplaceable. You are no longer rejected. You are chosen by the Most High. And now, if you recognize all of this, if you feel the fire of the burning bush without being consumed, if you understand that the isolation wasn't punishment, but coronation, then declare this now, loud, clear, without fear, without shame. Write in the comments if you understood what your place is. This is not motivation, it's activation. It's the seal being broken. It's authority being released. It's you saying yes to what God has always said about you. And when you do this, the invisible will move. Doors will open. Connections will happen. Favor will find you. Provision will reach you. Not because you're perfect, but because you're chosen. And what God chooses, He sustains. Your preparation is over. Chosen one. The desert has ended. The bush caught fire. The false armor was rejected. Now rise up. Put on your own armor. Take your sling and march toward your destiny, because they were expecting a giant, and God sent you.